Hello, everybody. This is Rafael Cervantes with episode 3 of the Puncher's Chance MMA podcast. Today, we're going to be going over UFC Fight Night, Figueiredo versus Benavidez 2. Overall, I thought it was a very good fight card, and seems to me that while this whole coronavirus thing is really put a damper on sports worldwide, it's kind of been a little, how could I say, if I feel like it's a bunch of new talent is emerging in the UFC, and it's been great to see all these other MMA fighters from all across the world that are getting their opportunity to fight in the largest MMA organization that there is, and really be able to make an impression on the fans and on and Dana White as well. So just gonna go over the fights, my thoughts on how the fights went down, and my thoughts on the fighters going through, and I'll try to grade every fight. That way you get one of the things that you can get from my podcast is kind of save you the trouble of maybe watching some of these fights, although I encourage everybody to watch all fights. There's some that just need to be held in higher regards, and yeah, again, I feel like a couple of guys that I've never heard of just emerged, and are going to be exciting fighters to watch in the future. First fight of the night was between Brazilian Carlos Felipe and Moldova's own Sergey Spivak. Both fighters fighting heavyweight. Spivak came in minus 170 favorite. Both guys, like I said, young. Spivak seemed a little longer, he was a little taller of the fighters. Came in and was very disciplined, while Felipe was enticing him to fight a more of a brawl fashion. Spivak was very controlled and seemed like he really stuck to his game plan, wasn't going to let Carlos Felipe get to him. Yeah, it seemed like every time Spivak tried to strike on Felipe shook everything off, so he had like nothing and was just kind of walking forward, kind of chasing Spivak around, while Sergey Spivak just maneuvered his way around the cage and landed the better of the exchanges. This fight ended up pretty much first and second round, not a whole lot of action. Fighters were a little hesitant to, or Spivak at least was a little hesitant to really exchange with Felipe, but like I said, he fought a cleaner fight, landed the majority of the strikes, and was really able to dominate round 3, that is, and got a takedown and pretty much just dominated Carlos Felipe from that position. Was just kept taking him down, slamming him down multiple times, got into a dominant position. I believe he mounted him as well and started really unloading on him, and was able to get the unanimous decision. He was pretty apparent that Spivak was still upset after the fight. The guys were still kind of jawing at each other, but I graded it a C. Like I said, they were a little hesitant, a little cautious round 1 and 2, but overall pretty good fight. Felipe falls to 8-1, and Sergey Spivak improves his record to 11-2. Second fight of the night, pretty exciting fight between Davi Ramos and Arman Serkavian. Sarukian, excuse me, lightweight, 155. Davy the more he was like the older guy, but looked really good out there. Just seemed that Armin was a little more technical, while Ramos was willing to engage. His attacks. Armin can pretty much see Davi's attacks coming, and was able to show why he was a heavy favorite in the fight. He was a minus 230 favorite in the fight. Really fights out of Russia. Seems like a really promising guy. Only 23, and was able to really put in a good showcase against Davi Ramos. Ramos landed a good right in the first round. Looked to Ramos try to look for the takedown early. Was pretty even early on, and then Armin started getting kind of getting loose with his kicks. He has really good leg kick game, and was even able to turn the tide and take Ramos down in the round. Good all-around game by Armin. Definitely won the first round. Landed a big right in that first round as well after a takedown. But yeah, really clean strikes. Very well-conditioned athlete. You could tell he was put on a really good pace. Had a really high output. 227 strikes compared to Davi Ramos' 122. So definitely the more active of the fighter, and landed a lot more of his strikes, as you could imagine. Was able to really control the stand-up, and after a while, Davi really became really frustrated out there. He was definitely aggressive towards Armin. But Armin just seemed to have better combinations, and Ramos was clearly looking for the takedown. Wasn't able to really get him down and control him at any point, if I recall. Armin seemed like he kind of caught him off guard with a couple of takedowns, and Ramos came close to a knee bar at one point, but didn't really threaten Armin with anything as far as on the ground. But yeah, Armin put on a really good pace. I would say dominated all 3 rounds. I'd like to see this guy fight again. Yeah, but by round 3, he almost became so frustrated. He just put his hands down, and Armin just started landing on him. Started landing left hooks. I think he even landed a head kick as well, while Ramos became frustrated and just kind of exasperated and put his hands down. Really lost his cool out there, but both guys really came out looking to end the fight, and yeah, really good performance by Armin. Definitely a good. Super young too. I think he's only 23, if I'm not mistaken. Armin Sarukian. I gotta remember that name because that guy's gonna be really good. Yeah, and then the fight after that was the bantamweights. We had a bout between Malcolm Gordon and Amir Albazi. This was a quick one. Both guys came in. pretty. Yeah, it wasn't too much of a. Yeah, Amir Albazi was favorite. He was a minus 140 favorite, but seemed like both guys were pretty. According to the broadcasters, they seemed to match up pretty well. Malcolm came in with a record of 12-3, and Amir Albazi was 12-1. Both guys pretty young. Gordon only 30 and Amir's 26. So quick fight though. Albazi came in aggressive, gets some good takedowns, or lands some good exchanges, and then he gets a takedown. And he was able to get to a dominant position. I believe he mounted Gordon and landed some good elbows. And as Malcolm kind of reversed the position, Albazi just slapped down triangle choke early in the first round, or towards the end of the first round, and Albazi was able to get the triangle choke, which I think they announced was the first of the year, which is just kind of crazy. I'm surprised you don't see a lot more triangle chokes. It seems like a lot of guys don't work off their back, but definitely helped out Albazi in this case. Really good technique. It's another guy that oh, by the way, last fight Ramos, I definitely graded that fight an A. Definitely a fun fight to watch. And yeah, going back to Malcolm Gordon and Amir Albazi, yeah, just a super quick fight, less than 1 round, so recommend watching that. Just good technique between the two guys. Gordon being able to kind of reverse the position, get the nice reversal on Amir, and then Amir able to lock that triangle choke off his back was really nice. So definitely recommend you watching that one. Graded an A as well. But yeah, quick one between the two bantamweights. The fight after that we had at bantamweight as well. We had Brett Johns versus Montel Jackson, and did mention that Brett Johns trained with Jack Shore, who we saw at one of the last the Kelvin Cater versus Dan Ige fight card. Very similar. I can see why they would be training partners. They fight a very similar style. Brett seemed, I believe they mentioned, came from a judo background and was really able to cut the distance between he and Montel Jackson, and really go for the takedowns in this fight. Both guys, Brett Johns with a pretty impressive 16-2 record, came in as an underdog though. I'm surprised about that. Yeah, came in as an underdog, plus 180, and Montel was actually a minus 230 favorite. But it wasn't. It was more Brett Johns just trying to take Montel down at all costs, and Montel doing a really good job of using wrist position and kind of get himself out of bad situations. But I believe Montel outstruck him by a lot. Yeah, it was one of those fights where Johns pretty much dominated the positions while Montel had the better strikes. And it was just Brett Johns just kind of just going for takedowns, taking him down, landing enough shots to not get them stood up. Always try to stay busy, but yeah, Montel Jackson outstruck Johns 80-30, and I mean there was only 26-11 as far as significant strikes. I think it was a lot of clinch work, a lot of clinch fighting in this one. But yeah, Brett Johns ended up winning the decision. I I graded this fight a C, but it was kind of fun to watch the little chess match that the two had. Um, Montal actually started taking down Johns initially. He had a couple of takedowns. Um, but it seemed like Johns had the clear um, like technique advantage when it came to grappling. Montal just seems like a maybe a little more gifted and was able to use these like they kept mentioning his hands. He was able to really get good wrist control and kind of maneuver himself out of positions. But it was a fun chess match. Maybe B or C, but yeah, not a whole lot of exchanges. I'm trying to remember any exciting moments in this fight. Yeah, Johns was able to get close. He was able to almost sink in a rear naked choke a couple of times, if I'm not mistaken. But it seemed like Jackson would try to um, exchange with Johns, and Johns would just cut the distance between the two, and then just kind of go for takedowns. So yeah, like I said, overall, I would say it was a C. Not the most exciting fight to watch, but Brett Johns is going to be another good guy to see fight. The fight after that, we had at lightweight, we had Irish Joe Duffy. And he took on Joel Álvarez, who I've never seen the guy fight, but has a pretty good record, 16-2. And Duffy was a heavy favorite in this. He was a minus 290 favorite, 16-4. Yeah, every time I see Duffy, I'm impressed by him. He's always got really good jiu-jitsu, and really good boxing. Everybody knows him from beating Conor McGregor, but you know, for the 155 class, has a pretty good frame, and like I said, really good boxing. But he took on this big Spanish guy, Joel Álvarez. Like I said, I've never seen him fight, but Duffy's got a good frame for the 155. But this guy's 6'3" with a 77-inch reach, and came in as a big underdog, a plus 275 underdog. So came in, and I believe a lot of his wins are by decision. He's got like a crazy out of his 17 wins, 15 are finishes, and they're all like submissions. So I really want to watch this guy again. But first, for this fight, Duffy came out. But both fighters came out really aggressive. Good fluid strikes between the two. Alvarez has huge leg kicks. You could tell with his reach advantage. He's able to really. He was able to land some huge leg kicks on Duffy. And then Duffy shot for a takedown, and then Alvarez sunk in the guillotine choke, and it was over. Like 225 into the first round, just finished the fight, or they stopped it at 2 minutes 25 seconds of the first round. Yeah, it was pretty. I was pretty surprised to see that, and yeah, I would like to see this fight have gone a little further, just to see more of Alvarez. But from my understanding, he's got a killer instinct on these submissions, and he's young. He's only 27 years old, 6'3". Just beat Joe Duffy, and subsequently, I don't know if it was just because it was had just happened, but Joe Duffy announced his retirement, which is, he's only 32, pretty young cat, and it was painful to see him tap out to that choke, but I'm sure he'll be back. But I'm really excited for this Joel Álvarez. Huge upset and really good technique on that guillotine. Nasty, nasty. And then the fight after that, we had another good one. We had another really good prospect, Grant Dawson, 26-year-old Missouri guy. Believe he fights at bantamweight. It's 140, 145. This was a catchweight fight that he had with Narimani, who was champion in a previous organization. Nad came in with a 12-3 record. Was a 185 underdog. I mean, when you say underdog, this guy was a dog out there. He was really, really tough. He, although dominated by Grant, I was very impressed by the toughness on that. He was able to withstand some punishment. Grant is a young guy, 15-1 record. He was a -240 favorite, so he was favorite, but came in with these brutalizing calf kicks. Dawson was able to, throughout the fight, throw this big lead knee that really did a really good job, because Nad kind of duck his head on some of these exchanges, and Dawson was able to time it on several occasions. But his bread and butter is, just going for those takedowns and just kind of positioning himself to land ground and pound. And from my understanding, the guy just breaks dudes in training, and that's kind of how he's done in MMA. He kind of just breaks guys. He says, I don't submit guys, I break guys. And I mean, if it wasn't for the toughness of Nad, that's what it would have happened. But yeah, like I said, Grant was able to dominate that first round. Again, very impressed by his leg kicks. Really good grappling, and the pace that he puts is just amazing. Was able to cut Nad in that second round. Was able to take his back and just about had a rear naked choke, but I was able to really cut up Nad with a nasty elbow, and Nad pretty much survived that. But Dawson looked really, really good. And round 3, this amazing Nad comes out and he's just going for it, but Dawson's also meeting him there and going for it too. He's trying to time that knee all fight, that knee coming in, and that even lands some strikes at it. He had the most success going in that third round, but Grant pretty much dominated all the rounds. And improves to 16-1, and it's gonna be, he says, because of all the coronavirus, that it's hard for him to make the 145, so he's taking catch weight fights and stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to see where he ends up. He seems like a big guy for bantamweight, but 5'10" guy, weighed in at 150, looked really good. And the fight after that, and I would definitely rate that an A fight. Both guys really came out, just went for it. Like I said, you got to see Grant. You got to see that guy fight. You got to see the pace, and he's definitely going to be a top 15, top 10 prospect in the future. We'll see. We'll see if he gets past that. And if I didn't grade Joe Duffy and Joel Álvarez just to see the brutal strikes and the good submission, I'd say a good fight. And then after that, we had another quick one. This was the main fight on the prelims. Was I'm gonna butcher these guys' names. Roman Dolidze versus Khadis Ibragimov. Both big guys, light heavyweight division. Roman kind of seems like a character out there. A lot of confidence. 6-0 record for the guy. Came in as a minus 155 favorite. Fighter out of Georgia, country, not the state. 32 years old, a little older, but big frame for the light heavyweight weight class. Seems like a solid guy. 6'2", 76-inch reach, but tons and tons and tons of confidence. He came out there and kind of as the fight's going on, he's assuring his corner. He's like, yeah, I got this, and really confident out there. Fight was done pretty early. It was stopped at 4:15 of the first round. Yeah, Roman landed a big right hand, and he's like, like I caught you with it, and he like shook it out, and then he throws this left high kick, and Khadis kind of shoots in at the same time, so Roman lands it with a knee. He just cracks him right on the chin and drops him to his knees. And Roman just kind of jumps on top of him, lands some right hands as Khadis is down, and Erdine stepped in quickly and stopped it. And Dolidze is just screaming at Khadis' face, and just Khadis is just out of it, has no idea what happened. You could tell, like, I don't speak the language, but I'm pretty sure he was asking, like, what happened? What do you mean? Like, he was so confused as to what was going on. So, yeah, like I said, another quick fight. Definitely rate this an A. It's gonna be a fun fighter to watch. Hope to see more of this guy. But yeah, that's Roman Dolidze. Really fun guy to watch in the light heavyweight. And then after that, we go to our main card. First fight on our main card was, let's see here, Alexandre Pantoja. So flyweight guys. These are ranked guys. Pantoja was the 4th ranked flyweight in the world, and Askarov, the 7 guy. Yeah, this was a really good bout. These both guys pretty impressive records. Pantoja 22-4, came in as a minus 180 favorite, and yeah, a lot of hype behind that guy. And came out against Askar, who was a plus 160 underdog. Yeah, early on it was Pantoja looking for submissions, as Askarov was looking for the takedowns. Really good defense by Askarov. Slick jiu-jitsu by Pantoja. I would rate that first round. I would give it to Pantoja. It was pretty close. Yeah, it seemed like Pantoja had crisper striking, and Askarov had the had the grappling advantage, but it seemed that Askariv was the better conditioned fighter and was able to keep the pace that he was at longer than Pantoja. Pantoja did a really good job of going to Askariv's body a few times. And Askarov was a little relentless, well, was very relentless, I should say. Sometimes a little careless, but just kind of going in there and trying to wrestle Pantoja to the floor. And yeah, that about midway towards the end of that second round, it seemed that Pantoja started to slow down. Askarov is looking for a fight in the clinch, or maybe just trying to wear Pantoja down, because Pantoja is a very athletic guy, slick jiu-jitsu, so I think it was Askar was trying to weigh Pantoja down and just kind of slow him down. In that round 3, if I remember correctly, Askarov did a lot more than Pantoja. He was able to land a lot more shots. Both guys exchanged a lot more. Yeah, but it was a pretty even fight. Both guys really went out and showcased a good fight for the flyweight division. Yeah, I would rate it a B. Like I said, there was some stalemates. There was a little slowing down by Pantoja, but both guys really went out for it. And Askarov seems really strong for this weight class. Seemed like he was able to really impose his will on Pantoja and has very good conditioning, and he's going to be a tough guy in that division. And that's in the flyweight division, Alexandre Pantoja versus Askarov. Another flyweight fight after that, and it was, let's see, Ariane Lipski versus Luana Carolina, and this was another quick one, another quick submission. Ariane was able to, I believe she took Luana down. She took her down pretty easily. And let's go back a little bit. Yeah, both young Brazilian fighters in the flyweight division, mid-20s. Ariane was actually, it's a slight favorite. It was a minus 120 favorite. But yeah, Ariane was able to take down Luana pretty easily. And it was Luana who actually went for a leg. And they got up, like, their legs tangled up, and then it ended up where Ariane was basically just sitting down on Luana's leg. She just reaches down and just cranks on it very aggressively, and you just hear Luana scream like at the top of her lungs, just in agony. And yeah, just as quick as it started, it ended. Brutal leg lock by Ariane Lipski, and yeah, just ran around the ring screaming very aggressively. So yeah, I think she won. She won submission, or she won one of the bonuses for that lock. So very impressive. Give the fight an A since it was just a quick one, and quick fights, you could just watch them super quickly and get a good finish, good submission right out of it. So always fun to give those higher grades. Fight after that, we had another super exciting fight between Marc Diakiese versus Rafael Fuziev. And this was the lightweight division, 155. Yeah, just beautiful striking between the two. Diakiese was a minus 160 favorite, and Fuziev came in as an underdog, which is crazy. I mean, to be honest, I'd never heard of Fuziev, but came in, seemed like he was in really good shape, and had a pretty decent record, 7-1. Diakiese with the 14-3 record, no slouch. I believe he's been on a 3-fight winning streak. But both guys came out. It was heavy kickboxing, and I'd seen Diakiese fight a few times. Really, really talented striker, but he was straight up schooled by Fuziev. That guy came out, and I believe they said he was training in Thailand, but his body kicks sounded like explosions. Diakiese was kind of stunned by these kicks. He was just taking them. I mean, it didn't seem like that he was hurt at any time, so I give props to Diakiese, but those shots were brutal. These kicks by Fuziev were a sight to behold, and it was actually Marc that looked for a takedown early in that first round, and then Fuziev was able to take top position, but Fuziev won that first round, in my opinion. Came out with, like I said, some of the scariest body kicks I've ever seen, and is amazing defensively as well. Round 2, it was Fuziev pretty much just like I said out. I thought Diakiese was gonna have an advantage when it came to the striking, because I mean, the guy's a powerful dude, and it seems like nobody ever wants to strike with this guy. But this guy was just willing and really put it on him out there. He went up those first 2 rounds. Round 3 was a little more competitive, and I think a lot of the judges probably even gave it to Diakiese. He was able to get his boxing situated and was able to land some good strikes on Fuziev, but Rafael is really, really good. He's gonna be a fun fighter to watch, and like I said, very well conditioned as well. He put that pace on for 3 rounds and was down to go for it, and homeboy was like in the Matrix. He was dodging these kicks, just bending his back all the way back. Yeah, really, and throws everything with ill intent. So yeah, another really good fighter in the 155 division, Rafael Fuziev. I'm gonna keep my eye on that guy, and definitely grade that fight an A plus. One of the fight of the night. That one was fight of the night. Both guys won an extra 50 G's, so great to see that. And then the fight after that, another quick one, and this was Kelvin Gastelum getting submitted early by Jack Hermansson. Yeah, it's tough to see Gastelum take a loss like that. I was surprised Jack came in as a minus 115 favorite. I mean, it's pretty much like even money. These guys were pretty well matched, but I thought Kelvin would have would have boxed up Jack and kind of negated Jack's grappling, but no, Jack was able to pretty much take Kelvin down. Kelvin was able to reverse the position right at the last second, and was able to get top position. But Jack was able to get a body lock pretty early, and then tripped Kelvin. Like I said, Kelvin used his momentum, just kind of swing him back around, landed up on top, and then Hermansson just went down for the leg and got a heel hook. It seemed like Kelvin really didn't fight it off. He kind of just tried to lazily kind of get out of it, and had to tap out. It was kind of crazy. One stopped at 118 of the first round, so kind of tough for Kelvin. Guys weren't really able to showcase their striking in this one. So another fight that I was kind of bummed. It didn't go as long, but Kelvin's still super young. He's 28. He'll be back. And Jack obviously goes crazy after every single win, so he's just screaming at everybody. Super pumped win for Jack. But yeah, that was middleweight. Both guys at middleweight. It's gonna propel Jack, and Kelvin's gonna keep dropping that middleweight division. It's a tough division. It's tough, and Kelvin's had some tough losses recently. That was a co-main event, and the main event was Deiveson Figueiredo versus Joseph Benavidez. First fight ended after that headbutt, and Deiveson came in and knocked Joseph out. Joseph was saying that it was because of the headbutt. But that first fight, I think, was pretty indicative of kind of what we were going to see. And it's tough for Joseph because he's always been that guy. He's always kind of like Uriah. Like, he was always 2-3, 2-3. And whenever he got a shot, there was just somebody there that it's usually somebody really good that just couldn't beat him and become champ. It was kind of his last hurrah for Joseph, and Joe came in a plus 200 underdog. So pretty one-sided affair. Deiveson was just it was brutal. It was you could see Deiveson's attacks were hurting Joe every single time. Joe landed some good shots, but there was a clear power advantage for Deiveson. He knocked them down several times. I would say like 3-4 knockdowns in that first round, and could have been stopped early. Joseph kept fighting though, man. You got to give that guy props, but it was one of the worst beatdowns I think I've ever seen. It was hard to watch that time. I was like, stop the fight. Like, Benavidez kept getting dropped. Deiveson was landing these crushing elbows from top position and cuts Benavidez up and is trying to sink in this choke. Benavidez is like getting out of the choke very last second. He's about to go out, and then like one of the last images that you see before they stop the fight was Benavidez' eyes just roll back as he's bloody, and his body is in such a position that you're like how is he? How is he even? How is that even possible to like be in that position? And they mercifully stopped the fight, but just yeah, it was tough to watch. But you got to give props to Deiveson. Tank at that flyweight division. He's a monster. I've seen the countdowns, and this guy's got like water buffaloes for pets, like these giant ton animals, and this guy's riding them and grabbing him by the horns. Just a tough motherfucker, man. And yeah, the guy improves to 19-1. Just it's gonna be tough to see who they match him up against, but yeah, it's hard to see Benavidez go down like that again. And his post fight was harder to watch than the fight. It was tough to see. These guys put so much on the line, and when they fall short, it's brutal. But like I said, you gotta give it up to Deiveson, man. Guy's he's a beast. His jiu-jitsu slick, his striking, he knocks dudes out, man. He's got power. And yeah, that was the main event. So yeah, like I said, overall some good finishes, some new guys that are gonna be we're gonna be hearing about in the next few years, I'm sure. And like I said, I love that the one positive that's coming out of all these events happening in Abu Dhabi is a lot of guys around the world are kind of getting their opportunity. We're getting to see a lot of guys that we normally wouldn't have seen, I don't think. So it's fun to watch, and yeah, that's a wrap up of UFC Fight Night, Figueiredo versus Benavidez 2. So I want to thank you all for listening to the podcast. This was the Puncher's Chance MMA Podcast, Episode 3. And again, this is Rafael Cervantes. Thank you so much for listening. Much love.